Hey gamers, welcome to another episode of the PTGC podcast. My name is Gerard, and joining me are my co-hosts, Gio and Mike. Say hi, guys.
I'm
Yep.
back.
Yeah. Mike
Yes,
Mike
he's
has
back.
returned from his vacation and joining us on this podcast. We'll see how long he lasts. If you like our content, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel to follow this podcast where we post this weekly. But on to today's episode. Today's episode is about 2XKO, Riot's new fighting game that we hope that everyone gets their hands on. If you don't know what it is a free-to-play tag fighter with simple directional inputs. Very, very key words for the fighting game community, but it's just basically two players, or you can have two players, or one person controlling two characters to play a fighting game, very similar to like Marvel vs. Capcom. And if you ever played Smash, that's the directional input. Very simple things. But like everybody here, I'm pretty sure is looking forward to it. What do you guys know about 2XKO? We'll start with Mike as his inaugural return. You can start first.
Looking at the trailer, I guess trailer or just the
Gameplay footage.
Yeah, I'm excited because I love Marvel vs. Capcom and I love Smash Brothers too. Love playing it when I get the chance to. So, and it's not, from what I've seen, it's not that difficult to learn the moves. It's just, and it looked like it's keeping the essence of the characters. So, I mean, I'm definitely excited for it. Definitely going to be playing it. Because I haven't really played any other fighting game in so long. I don't know the last fighting game I played, to be quite honest. Maybe Tekken. I don't know. But I am excited for this game. I'm excited where they are going with it. And I just want to enjoy another fighting game, to be honest. So this one's probably going to be it for me.
Oh. All right, how about you, Gio?
For me, honestly, I'm hyped about it. I like I said, it's got elements of Marvel vs. Capcom, which it is my favorite fighting game of all time. So I like that. Obviously, I've played Smash Brothers. I've never got really into it like that, but I like that it has a more simplistic controls in comparison to maybe Marvel vs. Capcom. I definitely like the visuals of the game. It looks aesthetically pleasing for sure. It's very, very nice how it looks. I like the combat, how it looks so far. Like Mike said, the essence of League of Legends characters. They seem to be staying true to that. I do look forward to seeing how the skins come out and how they look, especially in that graphic system. If you think about it, League of Legends, it's kind of an older engine. So them being able to make it more of a modern graphic design and see how that looks with the skins, because some of the skins are pretty crazy in League of Legends. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how that translates into the fighting game. I'm also interested in seeing how the community, knowing how competitive yet toxic at times League of Legends community is, how that translates into the fighting game world. And we talked about this in numerous episodes, that fighting games, I feel, is one of the biggest factors in genres that help push multiplayer. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with Riot behind it, because Riot's very big right now. So I think it's a good time for it.
Yeah. Well, that is good time indeed, as the fighting game community is very hyped for the game, especially a free-to-play fighting game. There's not a lot of free-to-play fighting games, especially from AAA companies like Riot. So it is definitely something that the gaming community is looking forward to, and something that a lot of people have been keeping their eye on. If you don't know, this game was initially teased back in 2016, talking about the game. They showed off a little bit, be picked up by the Cannon brothers, who had their own company. We'll talk about more about them later, but each of them are very influential in the fighting game community. And when Riot picked up their studio after their last development of the game, the fighting game community was like, "Oh, this is amazing! This is gonna be great. We're expecting good things." And what they showed off in the beginning was just a 1v1 fighter with characters like Katarina and Jinx. just showing off that they're making some progress. They're doing some things. They're like laying down the bones and things like that. And over the years, they've gone silent. So like we probably get an announcement like every 2 years or so of like some development changes and things like that. And it wasn't until like 2020, maybe even 2021, I would like to say, that we actually found out that it was going to be a tag fighter, a 2v2 system. And that was when people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be like Marvel versus Capcom in that regard." And there was like, we haven't had a triple A one in a long time, because the last one before that was Power Rangers, and Dragon Ball Fighters just came out, but it was been like long time. So like people were like, "All right, hopefully we can get a good tag fighter." And that can finally replace Marvel vs. Capcom, because at this time Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was still not able to be sold, and there was no collection thing for it at all. And it's been a long time, and especially with now, the alpha's coming out in August, and we get a 2025 release. But like, it's been a long time since this game has been in development. Gio, like, tell me, how long have you been like? I don't know how long you've been following the game, but how long do you think this game could go forward, and what is your history with fighting games that are like this game, like Marvel vs. Capcom?
Well, like I said, I would have to start with my history being way back in the days, obviously early '90s. Me and Mike started off with the original ones, like the Street Fighters, the Mortal Kombat, stuff like that, and then kind of evolved, and then we got the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Like I said, back then though, that was a very big arcade setting. Fighting games were very popular in the arcade world, and very competitive. So that's why I've said like I'm really looking forward to this. This kind of just dropped on my radar more recently, this game, because like you said, it's kind of gone dark, and they've only give like brief news about it, little clips here and there. They didn't share too much. They've kind of kept it on the low, kind of like what they're doing with the MMO in a sense, Riot. And I guess that's kind of good in a way, because they don't want to deal with too much criticism in the process, because then you start second guessing, you start trying to make changes that let us see what the finishing product or what the near finishing product looks like. So like from the gameplay I've seen recently, I say, okay, this looks good, like this is looking really good. I hope it matches what it looks like. And for me, it's drawing me back into wanting to play into a fighting game, because it's been so long for me. I think we did pick up the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that came out, but that didn't really.
We got Infinity.
Yeah, Infinity. That's what it was called. Yeah. But that really failed to capture like the initial Marvel vs. Capcoms. I felt like that was kind of like, I don't know, it was like lackluster. But
it definitely did not have the same kind of energy like MVC2 had. It definitely, like, the fighting game community was hit or miss with it, because there was it had its own problems with it. And also it was the nail in the coffin for like between the conversation between Marvel and Capcom. So
yeah, but honestly, I'm really intrigued of the potential of this game, especially it being free to play, like you said. And Riot Game usually does a great job of free to play games. How they set it up and make it competitive, but also make it worth playing. You stay playing it, you know what I mean? And you don't feel like, I mean, me and Mike have talked about, and probably you, how much money we spent on League of Legends over the years, but you feel like you get your money's worth when it comes to Riot in that sense. I'll give them credit when it comes to that. So I'm looking forward to the game. I can't hold back on my hype for it. Go ahead, Mike.
I think it helps that we're League players, so we see the essence of it, and we're gonna be excited for it, because it's it has something to go off on. Now I don't know how excited people are that don't play League, or maybe never. I don't know how you not know League, but I'm curious on the that audience, that aspect. How can they attract newer players that doesn't know the essence of the lead characters and all that, their moves, or will it attract them?
I think that
And
comes down to gameplay.
it does, yeah, gameplay and maybe the simplicity and
Mhm.
of the games. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna bring a whole new audience with the fighting community. Probably maybe dabble in it, but like I'm curious of how it will fare in that aspect, because we're excited because we've played League, we know the story, we know the characters
Mhm.
and what they are capable of. So I think it's easy for us to be like, yeah, man, I want to try this because it's something new, and it's something that we probably are looking forward to it. But I'm curious on how far they will go with this. I love the free to play aspect. Who doesn't like the free to play? To be honest, not having to waste money, but having still put out quality games. So definitely love that aspect, and I want to see how far they go. Right now I don't know how many characters they are planning to be released, but I'm sure like maybe they'll do the same thing as League, just keep introducing the new characters. Because League has a lot of characters. I would love to see a Timo.
Timo,
No,
yo, I'm
no,
gonna play
stop,
Timo and
stop,
Mumu. I'm
no,
playing Timo and Mumu.
no. Amumu's fine.
How
No
would they-
Timo.
I'm curious how they introduce that into the fighting scene. Like I'm sure they can, but like
I'm dropping shrooms everywhere.
that's like the first thing that came to mind was like Timo. What other character can't think of?
You can. There are trap characters that exist in the fighting game community.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, yeah. I think,
Shavana. I'm curious how the artwork for Shavana.
I know.
I think
a lot
Shyvana
of
would be an
potential.
install character.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of potential. I Xin Zhao. I want to see Xin Zhao.
Yeah, and you know what? With what we're talking about, let's talk about the known playable characters that are going to be in
okay.
2XK. Okay, so we do know there's going to be Braum, Alawi, Yasuo, Ari, Echo, and Darius. Okay, those are already confirmed. They're playable. They've been playtested at Evo and things like that. I say playtested, but the fighting game community has already played them in Evo 2024 and 2023. And then we have the known characters that were in the early development, like Jinx and Katarina. Katarina is definitely, they've said that she's not going to be a part of the base game, so probably not one of the included characters, but will come in later. Jinx, they haven't give a final on when she'll be, but we do know that she was being developed at the time, and they're still trying to flesh her out. Now, with that being said, on the last Evo, that they're about 50%, or about halfway through all the characters that are going to be on the base game. And with the 6 I already mentioned, that means if we double that, it'd be 12 possibly, 12 maybe. I'm going to guess either 12 to 14 playable characters on launch when a game comes out. So with that being said, what characters, name at least 3 characters you definitely want in the base game. Now, not to say that they won't come out later.
That's not already confirmed, you're saying.
But that's not already confirmed. And things that you want in the base game.
Base game characters. Damn, there's so many, Gerard. I wish you would have told me this off screen, so I would have had.
What do you mean? First off, I already did tell you the off screen. Second off, you mentioned.
Make sure. I don't. All right.
I want
Mike,
Timo.
Yeah, I do want
Okay.
Timo. I do
Mike,
want Timo.
you guys can share it if you want. I ain't picking Timo.
Yorick would be interesting. I'd like to see how the ghouls come out and stuff like that with Yorick.
Okay. I wonder if they do make Yorick. I would think it'd be a puppet character, but I would hope not, because like it'd have to be casual. But we'll see, like,
Shaco would be an interesting one.
I gotta have Diana just because I love Diana.
Diana.
He's like, Diana's gotta be it. Gerard, I want to say something. I think this is also, they're really smart about this, and I think it's gonna build a lot of hype. But like Mike was saying about, he wonders how it's gonna include the fighting game community that's not necessarily League of Legends players. But I think something that's gonna help it is the season 2 of Arcane,
Yeah.
because a lot of players that are not League of Legends players watch that anime
Yeah.
and talk
that's
very well
another
about
thing.
it, and it's gonna build hype towards the game.
Yes. The things I want and the things I can predict are like two different two things, because like I think they'll add Jace as one of the playable characters, because right out of Arcane,
he's in
2,
Arcane. He is in Arcane.
And I was like, it's either Jace or it would be Caitlyn, but like we have Jinx already, so I was like, I don't know, maybe Vi. Vi's probably a good contender as well.
Yeah, Vi should definitely be in there. She should definitely be in the base game, because she fits the fighting game character. She fits.
They have a lot of characters in League that fit, like Set and things like that, and Draven. But like people I want in the game.
So who do you want in base game? Your 3 that you want.
My base game 3. I personally would like a puppet character, so I'm thinking Shaco as well. I would also, in my mind, I think I would like a not a Twitch. What is it? Evelyn. I think Evelyn would be pretty cool.
A stealth character, basically.
Yes. And the third one is a guilty pleasure of mine. I would totally like Warwick. Warwick would be cool as hell.
I think he would look visually pretty dope. I think on the graphics.
Yeah, he'll have like either. I think he would be more of a install character. So like, he gets like a certain number. Like every time he gets a hit, he like a gauge goes up, and when that gauge gets maxed out, he can like install to get increased attack damage, attack speed, and like access to more abilities. So, well, that's my hope, and we'll see.
What about you, Mike? What are your 3? I know you said Diana already.
And Diana.
Diana. Man, the third one's hard.
The third one was hard.
Pick. There's 100 to pick from.
Yeah, you could say a random one, and I probably like the only ones that
I probably agree.
Yeah, the only one that I thought of, and I was like, nah, it was Lux, because I was like, that's too toxic.
Oh yeah,
that's too toxic.
I would be interested in seeing how they design it. Gwen.
That's a good pick. I like Gwen. I would like Gwen as well.
That's a good. She seems like a very good fighting game character too. She would kind of give. Like. Now that you say that, you know what I thought of Troy too? Azir. I think Azir would be interesting because he has like
would be a puppet, puppet manipulator and things like that.
So I'm going with Teemo, Azir. I'm just trying to think of like with the skins and how they play in League, how they would make that work in a fighting game.
You don't think about that.
Lee Sin. No, but I just think I want to see how cool it would look. Lee Sin, that is a good pick too. But Lee Sin, he does fit like the normal game stuff.
Like the three that I felt like go straight in there without Karthus would be weird.
That would.
Yeah. You can't really.
I mean, you can.
They're gonna find a way.
I can think it'd be more like, you guys haven't played Mortal Kombat 10. I was thinking like, he could be like Aaron Black from 10, which is like a slow place character that sets up mostly, but does a lot of damage with setup and things like that. So.
Oh my God! Somebody who?
Nico.
Oh, Nico would be.
I mean, why don't you just do Nico 2.0 in Aurora? All right.
Hey, don't get me started on that character. I hate it.
Right.
My last one is I'm gonna go with Ashe.
All right, Ashe, just to constantly slow you. But we've been talking about the characters, but let's talk about the dev team for a second, because I did mention it earlier that the Cannon brothers are heading this. If you don't know about Tom and Tony Cannon, both of the brothers are very influential in the fighting game community. Specifically, Tom is, actually, both of them are basically heads of the Evo scene, and I believe it's
Tony's the one. Yeah, Tony's the one that did it.
Yeah, Tony is the inventor, and I don't want to say inventor, but like definitely responsible for rollback netcode, which is basically the progenitor and the future of online fighting games, because it's very smooth, and especially with now Riot's implementation with the Riot Direct, which is server to server between for Riot servers and things like that with rollback netcode, it would be flawless internet, hopefully, in that regard. So, two instrumental things, but the dev team, it doesn't just stop with the Cannon Brothers. Like, the dev team is just all fighting game players. Majority, like, fighting game people who are internet, either whether had their hands in other fighting games like Killer Instinct or Marvel vs. Capcom or things like that, or have been in the fighting game community as fighters or like in Evo and things like that for a very long time. So, what are your thoughts about just like a game for fighters made by fighters, basically?
I think that's the best route you can go, honestly, to capture the essence. They're going to put more heart and effort into making this game successful than anybody else. And I think Riot is really smart not to just do it themselves and try to make it, try to make their own version of a fighting game. They're going to the community to help them, but they're also getting with people that are helping them catch the essence of League of Legends as well. That respect that their game is a very big game and means something to them as well and to their community, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. The League of Legends community is a huge community, as well as the game community. So I think it's a perfect blend, honestly, and I'm hoping it looks like, I hope it comes out the way it's looking so far and trending. What about you, Mike?
I think it just only helps, but help the game itself. And I don't see it. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it like, I mean, maybe it's hard for me to think that it's gonna fail. Because it doesn't seem, how would I word it? Doesn't seem like it's that difficult. And I think a lot of us just like kind of like the simplicity of it as we play other fighting games. So I don't see it where like it's gonna it's gonna bomb, because for our for League players, because we know the characters. Like I said, I'm gonna fall back on it, is that we're excited because it's coming from League and League characters, and we know these characters and we play these characters. My only worry is just translating it outside the common League player and how they would take it, for its just simplicity, fighting when, because you're saying they have a fighting background making a fighting game, it can become, the creativity may not be, could be the same perspective, because it does have similar to Capcom, where you're tagging you get help from your characters, helps you in the fight too, where you control it. So it's like, it's almost like it's Marvel versus Capcom, basically. Right?
You think it become kind of like copy paste almost, is what you're trying to say?
Like copy paste, because it's I always like seeing new perspective, new ideas. So maybe, but that always pans out, because they're not in the community and they don't know it, and that's understandable. But there's also a aspect of a different different ways of doing it, and it may not be successful. It may not.
I guess I could see what you're saying, because they're in the inner circle per se. So maybe they might not see something that a non-fighting game player might say, "Hey, what about if you implemented this?" You know what I mean? Or try to introduce this into the idea.
I'm not saying that there's no creativity.
You're saying it might stunt it a little bit.
Yeah, because it looks like Marvel vs. Capcom. But
all right, I'm gonna say this, Mike. You're gonna need to repeat everything, because I was just watching Loki the entire time. He's like at the bottom corner. I'm just staring at it. Always like he looks fluffy.
I'm not repeating Loki's mascot, okay?
But I understand. I mean, like, there is that element of like MVC being copy and paste, but like there's not many ways you can make a tag fighter besides just like what MVC does. Like, you can't make it any different. It's basically a mechanic, and and with simple inputs, it makes it a little bit different than like Marvel vs. Capcom, because a majority of fighting games, especially AAA fighting games like Marvel vs. Capcom and things like that, you had to do like quarter circle forward or 360 inputs for like command grabs and things like that, or half rotations to do stuff, or like certain characters, they have hold inputs and things like that. That's not going to be very prominent in 2XKO because the game is designed with non-fighter players in mind. They are trying, the input as in like, oh, in order to do Darius's special move, it's down, down, and A. That's how you do his special move. It's down, down, A. You want to do the second special move, it's down, down, B. Or left, left,
I
B,
guess,
right, right, B.
I guess that's simplicity, but like, what separated Capcom from Mortal Kombat, right? They have the same kind of combo of, but what separated them was like in Mortal Kombat, you're able to do like a finishing move,
like fatalities.
Yeah, fatalities. I think that was separated.
But Marvel separated itself too because in the tag fighters, you had those tag team ultimates. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can ult all at the same time. In 2XKO, they have their fuse system, which is a kind of like a special ability that you would pick before the game starts. And each team would choose one fuse, aka a special ability that they would add that would change the way that team played. So like there are some that increases input. There's another one that shortcuts all your combos. There's another one that allows you to tag when your special ability is going off, so that you could have a special ability and someone else's special ability to go off, like MVC. And like if you don't choose that fuse, you don't get that option. So characters and play styles, like the choices with those fuses is what makes it possible. Because MVC, you have, in like MVC2, you choose 3 characters. In this game, you get the 2 characters, which is already a limitation. But like with the fuse system, because you are choosing an ability for your team and you're choosing 2 characters, it changes how you play the game. So that's what I do think it goes for it, and not similar to MVC or Street Fighter in those regards.
So basically, they are addressing that concern that Mike has of how they're separating from the pack and not doing entirely the same thing as everybody else.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's like special things as well, like there's defensive mechanics, and I'm not gonna go too in depth to like everything about 2XKO. It's like defensive mechanics and things like that. But in MVC as well, like online, you can do 1v1, 2v2, or 1v2. You can have one person controlling both characters. You could have 2 people controlling each character. You could have like a friend. You could duo in 2XKO. Yeah.
It's duo co-op play.
Yep. So not like MVC where like each person doesn't get a character. It's just you get a team of 3 and you can play that way in MVC.
You know what I think would help separate them from the pack too? Changing that stupid name.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think about it. I mean,
the name grows on you. Just give it some time. Give it 2 years.
It doesn't.
It's fine. It's 2 years.
I don't know.
Give it 2 years.
That's
How long the name has been up.
Well, because it was what, Project
It was
L.
Project L.
Yeah, for Project L, like taking an L. The name is taking an L. I'll tell you that.
That was I didn't like that Project L because I think they kept it with the Project skins.
Project League. That's what it
Project
was.
League,
Project
yeah.
League.
And then Project M, I believe, is the MMO. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Way to be creative.
But 2XKO.
It is a development
It's-
name. It's
I
just
know,
a development name.
We're
We're
gonna talk.
come up with something, but yeah.
They're gonna run
We're
out of
definitely gonna
alphabets.
talk about that MMO for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. We'll talk about 2XKO and more later, probably in a later podcast when the alpha comes out and if any of us get alpha access. But does anyone have any last thoughts, final opinions?
No, I'm just excited for it. Don't fuck it up.
That's like every other game that we look for.
I mean, it's hard to do. It's hard to do when it looks
Ubisoft
so good.
already messed up with
Look,
Assassin's Creed
we don't
Shadow,
bring
which
up
I
that
was
name.
looking up to.
We don't bring up that name right now.
But Mike's like, yeah, don't f it up. Yeah, well, there's already been a game that's fucked up already this year.
All right, gamers, that's all from us. Make sure you leave a comment down below on your thoughts on 2XKO and its new name. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.